Welcome to part 3 of why the bacon hair isn't sad. I'm mad because I realized my microphone was freaking off. This may as well be the last episode covering the movie for now, as at the time I recorded this, part 4 of the bacon hair hasn't been released in 1 year and 5 months, and its exact release date is unknown. I also want to briefly apologize for my little break from covering the bacon hair, as partially because I was really disgusted by the horrendous writing, and I'm trying out new content so I can beat Flame Ace Gaming in subscribers. I'll also have a bit of a rant at the end of this video, talking about the bacon hair and Oblivious' movies kind of in general as a whole or something. Anyways, let's dive right in. So, we start back where we left off on part 2. Gisty somehow manages to free Xaden. Xaden runs away and Primrose just follows him. And then we get like an atrociously long like parkour sequence or something. And then Xaden confronts Primrose about how he joined the resistance, and like somehow like we're kind of unexplained only until now that the guests have pretty much trapped the bacon hairs like many centuries ago into these walls to like oppress them so that they can, I don't know, keep building their funny little civilization. Now, the guests have done a decent job of suppressing them, so what's the point of even bothering the bacon hairs now? Spoiler warning. This part is just going to show how pointless the president guess motivations are. So somehow Primrose gave in to the anti-bacon propaganda, and she never questioned the morality of those stuff, even though she literally spent several months in the wild with a freaking bacon hair. So Xaden and Primrose hug and stuff. And yeah, so pretty much we get a flashback, and basically it's kind of similar to Jez's backstory from the last guest, except there's atrociously obnoxious guest bully that bullies and pushes Primrose because she hanged out with a bacon hair. So Primrose kind of just gets really strong, and only until now she realizes she gave in to the anti-bacon propaganda. And then Guest is just like, it's okay. But then, out of nowhere, the seemingly drunk, insane, and maybe drugged older version of the atrocious Guest bully just shoots Primrose for no reason. Decides, and they have to do this because they have to keep the attention span going because of the 10-year-olds watching, I guess. Now, the crazy guest bully talks about how much bacon hairs suck, and I've actually realized that they were never giving an explanation as to why. In the last guest, at least the bacon hairs had kind of an explanation to why they hated the guest, but whatever the guest did to him possibly isn't true. But in the end, guests hate bacons just because they can. So after a random flashback moment, I guess the drunkard guest bully agent guy forgets about Primrose and Xaden, and Primrose somehow survives, even though it looks like she was hit in the stomach, and that pretty much means bye-bye to anyone that gets shot there. But I guess Guesty was fast enough to save Primrose and take her to the hospital. Also, how come every time someone is shot in Oblivious HD movie, they look like they took a shot in the stomach? But there's actually been some cases, like in the last guest, or like someone mentions, oh wait, they're like bleeding, they were shot somewhere else, like that isn't even the stomach. It just makes no sense. We also get probably the only good voicing in Oblivious HD history, when Xaden is waiting for Primrose to wake up. Also, for some reason, Primrose was really unconscious for literally a month, which isn't actually possible because that's a coma, and it's really rare, and it only happens if you get like a really, really bad brain injury, concussion, skull cracking moment, which Primrose pretty much didn't get. It was like a bullet sing. It wasn't even on the head. Also, since Bacon City is like really poor or something, wouldn't they like lack good health care? This makes no sense. Anyways, during the 4 weeks Primrose was unconscious, the guests have been broadcasting this message that they all want the Bacon Hairs to go to the city gates to be freed or something on this certain amount of time. Now, a smart person would think that because of how notorious the guests have proven themselves to be, that Xaden and Primrose think that they should stay at the city and protect the city somehow, and maybe even get the resistance back together. Nah, instead let's travel to the Guest Republic by foot, and assume that the president away in Bacon City, and if we really do think that he's in Bacon City, then why don't we just go confront him or look for him there? Nah. So one traveling montage later, and Primrose and Xaden arrive at the Guest Republic, which it looks really empty. There would at least be some people walking around at night or something. Also, that building that just says President made me chuckle a bit. And then there's this yet another montage of Primrose and Xaden running around the city, and then Guesty isn't there for some reason. Now, at this point, we probably all realize that the guests live a life of comfort and luxury, with almost nothing threatening their very lovely way of living. However, they choose to just spend millions of dollars investing in anti-bacon propaganda and building curfew bots for killing random homeless bacons in a far, far away city. The guests have no reason to be doing this. The president does not appear to have any motivations or anything against the bacons. They do it because they can, but maybe we'll get an explanation later. So then there's like a kind of another fighting montage, but at least there's dialogue. Also, somehow the guests knew they were coming. We never know why or how. Anyways, one fighting montage later, I said that kind of deranged bully guest. There's some generic villain talking, but then shocking plot twist. The president was here all along, and he disassembled Guesty. Woo! Yeah, baby! Now we don't have to hear his atrocious voice anymore. But this also shows how stupid and Primrose Xaden are. We're not noticing that Guesty wasn't following them in their city running for the city montage. So we get another shocking plot twist, and that the Bacon Hairs are curfew bots. What the pickle! I totally didn't see that coming there. There was definitely no clues hinting at this. But is it just me? But I didn't really understand what the president meant. It was pretty vague for me, and I feel unsure that I'm interpreting this right. But from what I understand, like in a way, like the guests kind of just stuffed the Bacon Hair bodies in robots, and I guess they kind of just work, like kind of like a Five Nights at Freddy's moment kind of thing. If so, what's the purpose of that? Wouldn't they kind of just go rogue? I don't know. We're never really explained. But we'll talk about this later. So, the president turns on his TV and shows all the Bacon Hairs coming to the city gates, and then we get a scene that's to trigger any person regardless of whether they have misophonia or not. And yes, it is that atrocious. And that is the sound of that already annoying robot walk sound of like metal clanking, but except it's echoed out and then like played 1,000,000 times at once. Basically, a bunch of guest robots march into the city and then kill bacon hairs, and then there's people screaming, and then part 3 ends. And we don't know what happens for over a year, or close to a year and a half. Finally, we're at the end. In my opinion, part 3 really shows how much of a downgrade the bacon hair is compared to Block Swatch. Part 3 is pretty much ruined for me. The guests don't have a reason to mess around with the bacon hairs, considering how irrelevant of a threat they are to their civilization. While Block Swatch's supposed villain, I think, was doing a lot of bad stuff out of greed. And don't get me wrong, that's kind of weak, sloppy, smelly storytelling. At least the villain kind of had a reason, while the guests do it because they can. A lot of characters appear to have some freezing temperature IQ also, with such examples being Zayden and Primrose going to the guest city out of nosiness instead of preparing to defend their city, even though it was kind of obvious what the guests were going to do, and then not noticing that Guesty wasn't following them in that running sequence montage, and Zayden's dad from like the first part of the bacon hair kind of just keeping Guesty a secret for no reason, even though it literally could have prevented his death. Like if Guesty was there, he could have just like knocked away the other curfew bot and then they would live and be okay, I guess. Also, with the twist about the bacon hair supposedly being the curfew bots, it wasn't a very good twist. There wasn't any build up or a lot of explanation to how, but maybe just a little dumb. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about a pretty bad writing mistake the story has made, and that is deciding to tell instead of show. The reason why I should show instead of tell is because it strengthens the impact of the event. Like imagine how instead of the president just saying that the bacon hairs are the curfew bots, instead he opens up a guest bot, revealing a kind of gross looking shriveled up bacon corpse or something crazy inside. At this point, I think Oblivious HD should hire me as a writer, since I can't take watching this bad of writing prevail. Okay, rant over. So overall, part 3 had pretty much ruined the bacon hair for me, and I'm not looking forward to the story quality of part 4, and I don't know when it will release, but hopefully soon. I'm tired of waiting. But anyways guys, that's all I got for today. Bye!